Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Data Scientist Podcast. We're very happy to have here with us today Marcus Glowasz, an expert in data literacy, especially like for bigger organizations and executives. That's a topic that's very close to my work. As some of you might know, I've spent a good chunk of my career in this type of area. So I'm looking for a very interesting conversation today with Marcus about topics such as data literacy in organizations, senior professionals, and data culture. So Marcus, welcome to the show. Would you like to introduce yourself and share a few things about your work?
Sure. Thank you, Stylianos, and thank you for having me here on your show today. Really happy to be here. And about myself, I'm based in Switzerland. I'm originally from Germany, but I live in Switzerland. I have a strong background in project management, more in the technology space, software development, and that's where I was working, most of my career in that space, and came in contact with data as part of my project management work in financial services, in compliance areas. And so that's where the link came to data and data analytics, eventually also to some degree artificial intelligence. And that's where I started researching around this, about how can we actually leverage this to make my original profession, the project management profession, how can we actually improve this? Because we talk a lot about data analytics, artificial intelligence, data literacy. Everybody needs to be data literate in organizations, but we don't talk much about the project management space, which I believe is in strong need for, data capabilities, and accordingly also data literacy in a more tailored fashion. So that's my background, and that's what I'm working on, and that's where I actually run training classes and workshops in organizations actually to address exactly that gap.
I see. And where do you think the main challenges lie when you speak to most organizations? Where do you find most of the sticky points? Do you see any like patterns in the challenges they're facing? Yeah, I'm curious to hear more about that.
Yeah, good question. And I think the biggest challenge, because many think like when we talk about data analytics, I mean, I'm talking obviously also only about the project management space, which is where my clients are located, and the senior management around this. But the first thing that comes to mind when people hear about data and data-driven practices, etc., they think like, okay, let's roll this out. Let's buy something off the shelf. Right now we have ChatGPT, so everybody is on it, and then think, oh, let's just leverage this for our purposes in organizations. In that case, the project management space. So let's buy it, implement this, and then kind of next week we get insights into our decision making. Right? I mean, obviously I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I see that quite often where people just jump from 1 to 100 and just want to get there, and they don't even have the basics straight, right? And and I mentioned that before, like project management, where I come from, is a very special place with a lot of challenges in it, and there's a strong need to actually improve things. So the faster people want to hop on whatever is new and promises significant changes for improvement. And then when we look obviously at ChatGPT, that's fantastic. So why not rolling this out, right? But then the first thing really is the data, right? And people don't think about data literacy and that they have to understand actually how this whole thing works, because there are a lot of cultural issues that are blocking this. So the answer to your question is the biggest concern or the biggest roadblock is actually the cultural element, not the technology piece, because I think it's already basically there to be used, but the people are kind of blocking this with their wrong mindset.
And how do you think this can be cured in a sense? Like, are there any I don't know, standard solutions to this problem?
Yeah, I always urge people to really take a step back, forget about data, forget about AI, definitely forget about AI to start with, right? Because this is, if you don't even have the basic, you shouldn't even start thinking about AI. Data, good, we know the concepts, I suppose, but only at a high level, or at least many people don't know really the details, how the inner workings are in terms of data analytics. So I urge them really to take a step back and forget about anything data. Just look around your environment, how you collaborate with other people, how you question people, how you come up with solutions, because this all feeds into these traits that are actually required to make proper use of data and analytics, the questioning skills, right? You need to be creative. You need some data democratization in organizations. So you need some sharing culture. So we're talking about data culture altogether, right? So to establish this, I always think like, just take a step back, right? And just, if you don't even get the basics straight, if you cannot just look left and right and see what's going on there, and you jump right on data, then no, that's not going to work. Just actually analyze your environment, get some analytical mindset, fix your questioning skills, and there are obviously a lot of techniques around this. And then you prepare yourself, right? You become more aware of what's happening, and you get more into sense making of the environment, which eventually is also required when it comes to data, right?
And in your experience, how long does it take for companies to undergo this transition? And what separates the ones that manage to do this fast and effectively, and those that might keep struggling for years?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, I mean, it depends really, right? There are multiple factors that play a role, right? There are some people actually, they're completely starting way, I mean, they're even running on very old technology. They don't even have anything that really can leverage properly the data. That's obviously another problem if you don't even have the technology in place to actually get there in a reasonable amount of time. But then there are obviously other organizations that are already set up, etc. They have it all in terms of the technical setup, but they have kind of problems with the mindset of people, the mix of people that they have. For example, and I've seen this quite a lot, right? When you come up with data and you want to actually enhance your decision making with evidence-based practices, and you feed in data, and then you have decision makers, which maybe are the older generations that sit around there for 30 years and they've never seen something like this before, and they basically have this difficulty to actually adopt these new practices and think, who are you? You data guy, come in here with data, and I've worked here for 30 years, and you want to tell me that I'm wrong? That's, you know, then you have kind of some confrontation there. On the other hand, you have actually people who actually, I call them actually kind of the data activists. Now they come in with all kinds of charts, etc., and present them all meetings and start. You have to take this decision, which is also wrong, right? You have these two extremes, which you have to combine. And then obviously, if you have one or the other, more people in an organization, the more difficult it becomes, right? So you need some engagement from people that actually need to want this even, which is a different layer in my view, which is a whole concept around purpose, right? That people actually get a sense of what we are actually trying to achieve. Thing that people need to know is why are we even doing this? What is the purpose? What is what is the meaning around this? Where do we want to get with this? Right? Because if you're maybe, I'm aware you're not in the project management space, but we have agile practices which everybody's became familiar with. But there are times, and I was in an organization where they just started rolling out agile because everybody else did it, right? And then they said, like, everybody has to do agile, full stop, right? Without actually telling people why all this and what are we trying to improve exactly, and give some more details around the whole strategy, right? People didn't buy into this, and the whole thing failed in the end, and they had to restart the whole initiative. So the same thing is with data-driven practices. If you come in and we just do data-driven because everybody else does it, then that's not going to work. So people need to get bought into this whole thing. And that's, that makes part of this whole cultural thing, right? So to answer your question, it can take quite a long time to actually get to a real relatively mature level of using data in that area and analytics. In other organizations that can go actually much faster, right? It obviously depends a lot on the data availability, which is another topic which makes, in my view, project management so special, because we want insights on what's happening in projects, and project managers who actually would benefit from this to actually run better their project. Those are the same people that are actually producing the data. So the data producer and the data consumer is one of the same person or team. And it's a mess. I mean, there's a lot of data, but nobody really is being diligent, or people are not really putting complete data in there. So it's not like in other areas, let's say, where you analyze customer data and their behaviors, let's say, just a simple example, how they navigate on Amazon or something, right? That's not what it is, right? Because that is rather comparably easy, I would even say, because in project management, we are hiding a lot of stuff. There's a lot of information being hidden because nobody wants to be exposed with any details on their work, which may be flawed, and some failures here and there, and some workarounds and some shortcuts. Nobody wants to disclose that. But if people don't do that, you never get the full picture of what's really going on. And then you have a data quality problem. And this is all playing together a big role, which also impacts the duration of how long it takes to get to a certain mature level. Sorry, I took quite some time to answer your question.
And given the complexity of this endeavor, what do you think that people like you and me can hope to do when working with these types of companies? And when does the work finish, right? Because does it finish when, I don't know, a company hires a chief data officer? Does it finish when they feel they've, I don't know, like functions can independently interact with, the data science team? Or is it like more of an ongoing thing? What have you observed in your experience?
Yeah, I think it's an ongoing thing. And actually, generally speaking, I think it must be an ongoing thing, because we used to actually implement things like some framework type of thing, and we roll things out, and then we are done, and then we kind of do that in some routine operation. But I think nowadays that's not possible anymore, because everything goes so fast. I mean, if people actually right now get to a certain mature level on data analytics in certain areas, then AI is already the next thing, right? Then to scale this whole thing up, right? And who knows what's coming next, right? So it's all much faster than it used to be. So there you cannot really stand still and just like, oh, we have right now, when I hear, and I come back to that other example, when people say, we are agile right now. Well, I mean, that's also an ongoing thing. You cannot say we are data driven right now and our journey is done here and we are good, and right now we can actually just run everything in some routine mode. That's also not going to work, because much faster than you would think, things become outdated again. And it's we know how exponentially fast change is happening today, and technology is evolving. So it's an ongoing thing, regardless of where you are in terms of maturity.
Yeah, I think it sounds like it's going to be an ongoing thing for years to come, with like ChatGPT and always like new developments. But yeah, I think we're reaching the end of this podcast episode. So where can our listeners learn more about you? Like LinkedIn, personal website, books on Amazon? Let us know.
Yeah, I have a website, markusglowasz.com. I'm fairly easy to find on LinkedIn. My name is quite unique there. I published a book on that topic, leading projects with data. So you find it on Amazon. If there's anything that resonates, or anything that maybe requires some clarification or maybe some discussion, I'm happy to respond to any queries via my LinkedIn or website.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you, Markus. It's been a pleasure.
Same here. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, everyone. Make sure to go to the datascientist.com for more content around AI, data science, and blockchain. And we hope to see you again at some other of our podcast episodes. Thank you, and see you soon.
Thank you.